And joining me now to discuss is Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren. Senator, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So the second quarter GDP report shows that the economy did shrink, but less so than originally thought. From April to June this year, the GDP shrank 0.6%, not 0.9%, which a July estimate showed. Unemployment is also very low, but Americans are still facing high prices because of rampant inflation. So how do Democrats campaign on an economy that is such a mixed bag?
Well, I think it's about, are we trying to head this thing in the right direction? Look, we got a lot of reasons that prices are driven up for families, and we have to worry about high prices for families. But part of it is still COVID that causes shutdowns around the world. We've still got supply chain problems. We still have a war in Ukraine that drives up energy prices. And frankly, we still have giant corporations that are out there that are engaging in price gouging. And all of those keep pushing those prices up. Now, there's a lot of evidence that prices are coming down. Best part is, as you point out, unemployment is low, so paychecks are coming in. But the main part, as I see it, is the Democrats are working to get this economy and keep this economy on track for everybody. Put the Republicans in charge and let them do another $2 trillion tax break for billionaires and giant corporations. When the Democrats are in charge, what we're doing instead is we're trying to make this economy work for everyone. And that's what I think we're doing right now, with lower unemployment and with more money back in people's pockets on things like, we're going to put a cap on the cost of insulin, a cap on the cost of prescription drugs for people on Medicare. Those are the directions we want to go in. And canceling student loan debt is part of that.
Let's talk about
trying to help out working families.
Yeah, so President Biden yesterday announced his decision to cancel up to $10,000 of student debt for millions of Americans, up to $20,000 of debt for Pell Grant recipients. Democratic colleagues of yours facing tough re-election races don't seem happy with the decision. Nevada Senator Catherine Cortez Masto said, quote, "It doesn't address the root problems." Congressman Jared Golden of Maine said this decision is out of touch. Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio, he's running for Senate, said this sends the wrong message. Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado said, quote, "The administration should have proposed a way to pay for this plan," unquote. Are they wrong?
The way I see it is that this is about the President of the United States bringing the full force of our government to help working people. Keep in mind that 42% of the folks who have student loan debt do not have a college diploma. These are folks who tried, but they're folks who, went to beauty school. They're folks who may have tried community college, and they are not earning enough to cover their student loan debt burdens. The way the president has set this up is to concentrate the help among those who need it most. So by doing the Pell recipients with the largest beneficiaries of this cancellation, it's people whose median, whose income, family incomes, for 95% of them is below $60,000. Think about that. These are people who are disproportionately working people. They're veterans. They are mamas and daddies who are trying to go back to school. They're first generation people trying to get into college. Those are the folks that the president is reaching out and trying to help. Working people who are struggling. And as Democrats, that's what we ought to be doing.
Is this one-time student loan forgiveness just a Band-Aid on the real underlying issue here, which is the skyrocketing cost of college tuition?
Well, it's part of the problem we're dealing with here, and that is the built-up student loan debt. But the president made another announcement yesterday, and that is how people are going to pay for college going forward. And he's going to change the income-determined repayment plan so that nobody has to go through debt hell to try to get an education if they can't afford to write a check for it. But the third part is absolutely about holding colleges and universities accountable. This is something I've been working on for a very long time, so have other Democrats. We want to see colleges have skin in the game. We've put additional money into historically black colleges and universities. I've got a piece of legislation that has almost made it through that demands more transparency from colleges so that the costs are clearer up front, so that they have to post information about how long it takes people to graduate on average, how many graduate, and how much money they make when they get out. So there are a lot of things we need to do to get the cost of college under control, but it's three different parts that we've got to work on. And I start today by celebrating the part that says for literally 20 million hardworking people, you don't have to pay student loan debt anymore. And for another 23 million, you've got some relief on that debt. And that's going to be life transformative for a lot of people who now will be able to start a small business, start a family, save up money to buy a home. Good for the economy overall.
What do you make of the fairness argument that I've heard from Republicans and from Democrats, which is, what about all those Americans that paid their debts and took second jobs, third jobs, or decided to not go to the priciest school? Isn't this unfair to them?
You know, I think of the fairness argument this way. I went to college. My daddy was a janitor. I went to college when it cost $50 a semester, when a part-time job would cover the cost of college tuition. It doesn't do that anymore. And that is a real generational fairness problem. That opportunity is just not out there. Or look at it this way. You know what proportion of Harvard undergrads have to borrow money? 2%. Do you know what proportion of state school undergrads have to borrow money? About 50%. And what proportion of HBCU grads have to borrow money in order to make it through college? 80%. What's happening right now in America is that it's working great if you're born into a family that's well-to-do, but it's not working great for the rest of the folks. People are out there, they're trying to get an education. These are the folks who are working 2 jobs in nursing homes. These are folks who are air conditioning and repair maintenance, people who are waiting on tables, and they can't cover the rent, put food on the table, and still manage an average $400 a month to be able to pay student loan debt. We need to get that debt burden off their backs. We need to set up an investment in our colleges and universities so they don't cost an arm and a leg. And we need to make sure that no kid in the future who can't afford to go to college has to go through debt hell and mortgage their future all the way to the end of their lives in order to try to get an education. We need to do all of it.
Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.